You know that little gray box that pops up sometimes when you click a link? We've all seen it a million times. It's one of the most common signs on the digital highway, but we almost always just click right past it. Well, today, we're going to pump the brakes and take a closer look at this totally overlooked signpost, the redirect notice.
Yep, this thing right here. It flashes on our screen for just a second, and our muscle memory is to just keep going. But have you ever actually stopped to read it, to think about what it's really trying to tell you? Okay, let's actually dive in and figure this out.
So to really get what's happening here, let's think about it like this. Imagine you're driving down a road, and the website you're on is that road. This little notice, it's basically a detour sign telling you that the path forward isn't straight ahead, you're about to make a turn.
That first line, the previous page is sending you to, it's super straightforward, right? It's just the internet's way of saying, hey, just so you know, the site you were just on gave your browser instructions to go somewhere else. Simple as that.
Now, there's a fancy technical name for this, of course. It's called an HTTP redirect, and it's a totally normal thing websites use to organize themselves, like when a page moves to a new address. But we don't need to get bogged down in the jargon.
Let's just stick with our road trip analogy. All this notice is a helpful sign telling you about the detour up ahead. It's not a scary warning sign, just a heads up about the route you're taking.
But here's where it gets really interesting. This sign doesn't just say detour, it actually gives you a map. And that map is the single most important piece of information on the screen, the URL.
So this big long string of text, that's your destination. And I know, at first glance, it just looks like a jumble of characters. But trust me, it is packed with clues. If you know how to read this map, you can figure out a whole lot about where you're about to land.
It's actually pretty easy to break it down into 3 simple parts. You've got the protocol, the domain, and the path. And each one of these tells you something different about your journey.
Okay, first up, the protocol. You see that little S in HTTPS? That single letter is your first safety check. It stands for secure. That means the connection between you and the next website is going to be encrypted. It's like knowing the road ahead is a private toll road, not some sketchy back alley. All right, next, and this is probably the most important part, is the domain. This is basically the name on the front door of where you're going. You have to ask yourself, is this a name I recognize and trust, like livemint.com, or does it look kind of weird, maybe spelled wrong or super long and suspicious? This is your best clue.
And finally, you've got the path. That's the part that comes after the .com. It kind of gives you a little preview of what you're going to see. In this case, it's a pretty good bet we're heading to a section all about the stock market.
So you've been given this map, you know where you're headed, and then the notice does something pretty incredible. It hits pause on the entire internet, just for you, and it gives you the power of choice.
I mean, look at that. It's telling you straight up, hey, you don't have to take this detour if you don't want to. It's asking for your consent. You've seen the map, and now the decision is all yours.
But why, right? Why not just send you there automatically? Most links just zip you right over. Why does this one stop and ask for permission?
It's because that little pause, that moment of friction, it's a feature, not a bug. It gives you, the user, 2 very clear options. You can look at that URL, decide it looks legit, and hit proceed. Or, if anything feels off, you can just slam on the brakes and go back to where you were.
And that right there is the whole point. This isn't some annoying error message. It's a feature that was designed on purpose, for one reason, to give you transparency and to help keep you safe.
Okay, so let's put all the pieces together. Why does this simple little signpost, this thing we usually ignore, actually matter so much in our day-to-day browsing?
Well, it really just boils down to 3 big things. First, transparency. No surprises. You know exactly where you're going. Second, security. This is your chance to spot a fishy link before you land on a dangerous page. And most importantly, control. You are the one driving the car, not just some passive passenger.
At the end of the day, this tiny, often ignored notice does something pretty profound. It takes a process that's normally happening in the background totally automatically, and it brings it right into the foreground. It turns it into a conscious decision that you get to make. It puts the power back in your hands.
So, the next time you see that redirect notice, don't just blow past it. Take half a second, read the sign. It kind of makes you wonder, doesn't it? What other important signs on the web are we all ignoring every single day?